Okay, thank you so much. And I still remember last year when I landed here, this was the time when we talked about that TRAI chairman doing net neutrality debate. IMAI was so awesomely conflicted, but it gave in to the net neutrality for this countrymen. And today this fight has become a totally different when companies built in India are calling themselves that we are Indian companies and we need foreign capital to be avoided in this country. Interesting times, aren't they? Well, I think all of us remember what happened last year, and I think my life had the best of the lessons, what you should not do included in last 2 months. And here I probably will share some of those lessons today. And something else happened, even if this was a post facto agenda of government to drive digitization, but let me tell you something else happened. We at Paytm saw that every town where there are less than 100,000 people, which constituted less than 2%, so 1.3% of our transactions were done from the towns where there are less than 100,000 people. At a growth of 3.5 times, it became 17%. So what you're seeing is, boys and girls in the room, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time that India was waiting for. This is the time when I came out of engineering college in 1998 and I wanted to build an internet company in this country. And this is the time, for the first time, this country has truly that thing which is called the chasm of 100 million users. This is the time. This is the time when India can proudly say we can build digital companies out of this country and can build a world-class size. And this is also the time when no more than everywhere in the world, whether you go east, whether you go west, they want to own this country's landscape. This is the time every entrepreneur sitting in this room who might be thinking whether the money exists in this market or not should know that unprecedented more amount of money sits in this room and this market than ever before in this country. This is the time and the truest time for our country to build companies that we all can be proud of. This is the time. And never before India made this consumer base available to its entrepreneurs, companies, and ecosystems that will fight. And no more the fight in few years will be of companies. No more the fight will be of the companies in this country. No one company will fight with other company because people will fight the war of ecosystems. This is the starting point of building of ecosystems. You saw a company building a moat in one space and very quickly getting into other space. And this is the time when companies from West, like Google or the Facebooks of the world, to the companies from this country, Paytm or Flipkart or Times Internet or anybody else, or companies from the East, Alibaba or SoftBank, everybody would want to build an ecosystem in this country. And this fight that today we are counting between companies will look like such a small one tomorrow and next year. So this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, you can never be more excited about than ever before today. Because countrymen are paying on internet. They're paying for things they were used to of getting it for free. They are paying for content subscriptions. They're paying for Hotstar subscription. They're paying from Netflix subscriptions. And they are also paying for services and things which they did not have an obligation to pay for. They did not have an obligation to flick out the card or use a mobile app or use a wallet or any other payment system. And today they are paying using a digital payment system. And I want to give you a number today here. In the month of January, this is the month after December so that market had some cash, or in the month of February and yesterday, in a day, we are shocked. We at Paytm are shocked. Today, in a day, we are doing 8.5 million transactions a day. Can you believe it? 8.5 million transactions a day. And I give you a reference to the number. When I talk to this card network company in this country, combination of every card issued by every bank whatsoever, all right? Every bank, every card network combined, that number after the growth touched 10 million. Paytm soon, hopefully, will take over. We have standalone debit card, standalone credit card. Yes, the tipping point has crossed. Combination of all cards, all banks, debit, credit combined is not far. Can you believe what is happening in this country? Unprecedented, never seen before. Unprecedented, never seen before. In a day, I'll give you a number of in a day. I was very happy when I used to say, in a day, 100 crores get added to Paytm wallet. That's not a less number, right? 100 crore gets added to a Paytm wallet. It's a non-interest bearing deposit. It's a deposit which has an obligation that it has to be used only for payments. It is a deposit that is no more available for you to issue a check off. It is a deposit that you can't go to ATM and take out. And today that number is touching 200 crore within less than 8 weeks time of the starting and ending. 200 crore a day walks into the Paytm's wallets. Literally, just like you go in a temple and give the money, hopefully someday it'll take care. Literally that size of the money. And the number of transactions, the dollar value of transactions. You wouldn't believe, and I didn't believe, when I could tell you this number. I got a shock of my life because I got the number for my January month MIS. In January month, payment volume standalone on Paytm crossed 5,000 crores. And that effectively is a $9+ billion annual run rate. And I started the year saying that this year, if we do 10 billion, we'll be amazing. And it literally is what happened. So imagine what I'm talking as a number. And this number had changed what was the number in the mid of the year to the end of the year many times forward. This is the time every one of you who's building a content company, advertising company, service company, gaming company, any company whatsoever, you can truly think this is where the customer base exists. And yes, the payment systems exist today, that I can tell you so. And it is not the ending point, it is actually the starting point. Customer cohorts. App Annie. Okay, so this is very cute. We've never bothered about what number of users open our app, the traffic, correct? Because if you don't do a transaction, to hell with it, thank you for coming, we are okay without it, right? Or we'll bother about it on the day when we have bothered about enough number of people who are coming and doing the transaction. Well, in the month of December, we opened an App Annie stat. Only for the Android for the month of December, Paytm's active user base was 91 million. Only for Android, only for month of December. Can you beat it? And none of us would have ever imagined that, right? I don't think anybody who's building a commerce app would have thought it. This is good for content, this is good for those photograph apps, this is good for messaging apps and everything else. But this country is reaching where the 100 million is a very easily doable number for this country. And that is where I'm saying, imagine that has happened. I mean, how else we could have justified IMEI existence with the M there, where the AI, Internet Association and Mobile Association, mobile has overtaken publicly and awesomely there. Some of us believe that this is also the time where a lot of global capital is coming and it is eating into this country's local startups. And I am the one who roots for the local entrepreneur. I'm the one who would say to the entrepreneurs built in this country, built in India, made in India. And I am the one who will tell you that you can't fight this battle by this kind of issue versus you should be the one who should riding this wave. Just like yesterday I was with Sunil Bharti Mittal. He quoted this example. When Bharti Airtel started in this country, it started with competition from Hutchinson in Asia or AT&T from US, and it was like an open bloodbath. Guess what? His existential crisis and the toughest war is not from an international player, but an Indian domestic player who's doing that, what he's doing in this country today. So the battlefield rules in this country are openly laid out. We are a product of the business rule that was built before us, and if the rule didn't change, then we will be fighting the battle of being us. My rule, my personal rule in the business is, whatever is your biggest strength will become your weakest point, and whatever is your weakest point will become your biggest strength. And this circle, till the time it does not complete, you did not complete your first cycle. One point of time, you used to go to newspaper and say that Alibaba is a shareholder. And now, Alibaba is a shareholder. Yeah, that's right. The biggest selling point of yours and the biggest strength that you believe should become your weakest point, then your chapter 1 completes. And the biggest strength point, I raised $1 billion, becomes your weakest point, will be the circle complete on that day. It is true for every one of us. Life is amazing. It will take a circle complete. Until the time we come out of this 360-degree, we've not gone through the cycle, my friend. So this country is going through this amazing cycle. We wanted to build and invite international companies, and we want to now block those international companies and want to build Indian companies. So be it. So it is. We are the product of this open floor, and we'll be wiped off because this is an open floor. One day there will be better ones coming to take our place. One day we entered because we could take a place for someone else. Giving you an example. I just got to know what is happening is an amazing amount of traffic is coming on the apps. Amazing stands for so interesting. Number of people who know that Paytm also does OTA, that is travel business. Please raise your hand if you think Paytm is in the travel business. 17% in the room think that Paytm does travel business. Just an announcement came. One of my ex-board members, and in the last IMAI conference, I was sitting here with Rajesh Mago. They just completed the merger of iBibo and Make My Trip. The combination announced that they did 34 million transactions last year. In the month of January, after starting in the month of July, effectively 6 months, we did 2 million transactions in the month, in 6 months. Net break even. What is happening in this country is the market is getting created in the categories that none of us would have unprecedentedly believed upon it. Book My Show, my friend Ashish Hemrajani built it. I'm the one who built the IVR, the first IVR that they picked it. We, in the cinema ticket category, are doing on an opening weekend anything as less as 17% and as high as 22% actually, collections of the opening weekend. When this country's total online penetration is around 40%. Are you noticing what number this is putting? And that happened again in 7 months. And then people ask me, why do you want to drive the payment business to 0% margin? Because the value is not in the payment, it is the wealth that is in payment. The dollar is made somewhere else in the business model. Payment needs democratization in this country. All of us who are technology entrepreneurs, all of us who are sincerely believers of this country should have a better governance, and this country should have a better resources for all our countrymen, believe that we should have at least a bank account for every rich and poor. All of us believe that if a large company can take a digital payments like cards, at least this small shopkeeper and a small business should be able to accept digital payments like NEFT, RTGS, and if not, at least a wallet, damn it. All of us believe that this country should have a digital payment system and rails which are reaching everywhere. All of us know that the largest money-making spinners in this country are the largest of the banks. They in a quarter make, even when they are fighting their NPAs, thousands of crores, which is more than even the largest telecom operator makes in this country. All of us know that financial services is the richest business in this country, and all of us know that it is the business that has not reached even beyond the metros and the large cities to the people who work with us, and they come to work for us at our home and our offices. All of us know that, and I can tell you one thing. And I can tell you one thing, the truest mission and truest purpose that we carry ourselves at Paytm belongs to that how will we bring these people who have been discarded, who's been regarded as the last person in the value chain, who does not need to bother, who need not to take a bank account, who need not to take this pause, who do not to take this high margin business, are the people who deserve it most. Because when the technology comes and brings the democratization, it is the truest democracy that can happen possibly only by when the technology company can make it reach to the every small and large person in the room. And that, my friend, is an opportunity in front of us. The company's goal or the industry's goal, at Paytm we found out, and later it was denied. There were banner ads. There were banner ads created by a 100-year-old bank in this country, a 100-year-old bank whose shadows we stand, whose mission we believe we will one day match up to, whose purpose we believe one day we will set up to, build banner ads, and not a digital banner ad, like a large banner. And they had thousands of them in thousands of branches and nearby where they were comparing Paytm and themselves. Imagine what happens when a small little wallet starts to create that impact. And I tell you one thing, if last 5 years were identified as the commerce, if last 5 years were identified as the country's opportunity of selling anything and everything online, next 5 years is interestingly the business of fintech in this country. And let me tell you what is happening in financial service. Remember what happened in telecom since Steve Jobs gave birth to this magic instrument called smartphone? Telecom operators who controlled every service, whatever was being given, got disintermediated because a platform came on top of them in a smartphone and in App Store. So every feature that you could have built, it started with humble photo sharing app called Instagram, if you remember, and then grew to music services like Spotify in Europe. It started from those services which telcos did not bother, and one day one guy took a pot shot on operators' high margin business called let there be SMS, and there came WhatsApp. And second day, slowly, one day, let there be call. And another day, this platform is so magical, so amazing, it delivered what our telecom operators could not deliver even when they had the specs and the devices and the network capable to do that video call. So, telecom operator who controlled everything that is served to us, who controlled everything in the walled garden which goes to the customer, who controlled what content do you read, who controlled what video that get to see, who controlled what news will you get, immediately had to give up every control, and then came this disintermediated piece on top of it, one app at a time, every service. In fact, now the battle has gone to a level 2. Even the connectivity, may it come from loon, balloons, or something else as a mash of wireless or Wi-Fi. So it's a very massive battle, my friend. See what happens in 10 years, 2006 versus 2016. See what happens in this country. Nearly that, okay, it is not the same. Nearly that is due in banking and financial services. Today the bank decides who gets your credit history. Today the bank decides what kind of payment system you get. Today the bank decides would you get an insurance or not, because this is what your bank account data is. Whether it is useful for them or someone else, they decide. And that ecosystem, one thing at a time. For the first time they found somebody surprised them. Who took my payment away? I mean, that was mine. How could you even do it? The damn thing is non-interportable. What is interportable, by the way? Just in case. Interportable is our payment system. And that is, can you go to a Visa shop and give an MX card? Can you go to a RuPay card to a Visa merchant? Is that an interportable? Well, that is exactly what happens when an incumbent start to lose control of one thing at a time. And Mahatma Gandhi said the best. First they will laugh at you, and then they will attempt to, and dash, dash, and dash, dash. And that is exactly starting from payment, going towards the lending, going towards the insurance, and then future going towards even the deposits. Now that RBI is open even deposits to tens of people, new people, it'll become interesting ecosystem in this country. And this country, our country, India, for the first time has an opportunity of building something that can be seen by the world that it is being done in India, and that can be seen in the world filled up with the greed of the bankers that this can be built in this country, where your deposits won't be risked for the assets, assets that convert to the non-performing assets. Assets. It's an amazing ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen. When I went to this first meeting of my bank team, our bank team, and they said, so we will have assets, we won't have assets. And for some time I kept sitting in the room and I said, I mean, why won't we have assets? People are depositing money, right? No, that's called liability. Imagine the mindset of a banker when he treats your money as a liability and the money that he throws out as an asset. I mean, that is the business that we are living in this country. I mean, that is the business that we will fight, my friend. That is the business we'll fight. Oh, I can't tell you how excited it is the time. How exciting it is the time when people who have the last ticket to play the first ticket. And when they do not get anything, they play the dirty card. This is amazing. This is amazing. I think this is amazing time because truest for the first time, the power of the phone. The power of the phone. You can only underestimate power of a common man with the smartphone. That is what it is. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.